And we're live. Hello and welcome everyone to the last episode of the MMK show for this year. Today we've got a very, very special episode for you guys. So of course we're right into the holidays, ending the year off. So we wanted to, wish you the best of luck for 2023. And we've got some special guests who are going to be joining us today on the show. We're going to be talking about the India sourcing trip that we just finished in October. And at the end of the show, we've got a huge announcement to make. It's a very, very exciting venture that I'm sure will help each and every Amazon and e-commerce seller out there. Marg and Kevin, how are you guys doing today?
Really well. Yeah. Looking forward to today. It'll be good.
Yeah, fantastic. Regular, as always. Yeah, looking forward to it. Yeah. And we've got some
Yes, absolutely.
Chat with our guests as well.
And we've got some really good stuff to end the year with.
Absolutely. So stick around until the end of the show for the huge announcement. And I see so many people already online. It's so good to see all of these familiar faces. We've got Deborah saying, I want to wish everyone a healthy and happy Christmas and prosperous new year. Daisy, we love you, Daisy. Love the new look. Yeah, that was so cool. Those AI avatars. Yeah.
Fantastic, Daisy.
All right. Hello, Daisy. Hope you're on the mend. Hi, Jane. I owe you some info. Okay, there's a chat going on over there. Cool. Awesome. Ross Frizzell. Hi, guys. Good to see you three. All right, so let's get started. We're going to invite our special guests on stage, and we've got CJ, we got Christine, and we got Tricia. Hi, guys.
Hello, ladies.
Hello. How are you guys?
I miss you guys.
Good.
Oh, we miss you too. Our IST family.
So today we've got New York, we've got Perth, Western Australia, and we've got Victoria. Yeah, so all over the place, people from everywhere. Yeah. We flew them all in specially just for today, guys.
Megla, I'm full FOMO. I have to do the AI facial stuff too.
Oh, that is so cool! Yeah,
everyone's got addicted to that now. I said too many people have too much time on their hands. We've got all these friends doing it now.
See, that's what happens when you become a successful e-commerce seller. You have lots of free time on your hands.
Very cool. All right, so what we're going to do is, first of all, let's play a short recap video of India sourcing trip. This video has just come in, so it's hot off the press. You guys are the first to see it. It hasn't been launched yet. And then we'll ask you about your experiences on India sourcing trip and what you guys thought about the trip and what advice you have for people who want to go on the trip. So I'm going to play the video first. It just plays instantly. All right, let me just go. There we go. Ronnie. Oh, this is funny, the laughing one.
Pushing the bus, Kev. So many products.
So many products. It was great.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah.
Mind blowing.
This is a good shot. How did they do this?
Yeah, I don't know. He must have used the drone, I think. That was a great restaurant too, though.
This was one of my favorite nights.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was lovely. And
Trisha, do you still? Oh, you left the glass in the
That was a
bus.
great
No,
night.
left it on the bus.
Oh, Kev had some fun there.
yeah, it was mainly new job. There you go. That was a great night too, wasn't it?
Oh, look at that, Kev.
Gorgeous saris.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
The
awesome.
memories.
Awesome.
Did that take you back?
Memories.
Yeah, lots
Awesome.
of memories. And guys watching, Daisy, Roz, Jane, all of you were with us on the trip. What did you think of the video? Let us know in the comments. What was your favorite part? All right, Kev, let's go for the first question.
All
What
right,
do you
well,
want
we'll
to ask?
start with CJ, and I'll ask you, CJ. Why did you decide to join IST in the first place?
I actually belonged to a different coaching group, and we were supposed to go to India, and they canceled it. And I had mentioned this to Megala, who I had known very briefly for the last year or so, because she had helped me find a sourcing agent for something a while back. And she said, "Oh, come with us." And I thought, there's no way I can afford to pay for this trip. And I thought about it for about a week, and I thought, you know what? This is an investment in my business. And I went knowing and came back knowing that the expense of this trip is going to pay for itself multiple times. So that's kind of why, that's how I sort of ended up joining.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I like to me, when I look at things, that it is an investment in your business and in yourself, and the people that you meet. It puts you ahead, miles ahead of the game. Miles in the game. Yeah, fantastic.
I started my business about 3 years ago, and I'm further ahead now, just a few months after this trip, than I've been for the last 3 years. Period.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's great, CJ.
That's great.
Christine, what about you? Is she frozen?
Well, I was part of the India Sourcing Mastermind.
Yeah.
Am I frozen?
No, you're okay now.
You're right now.
I was part of the India Sourcing Mastermind.
Yeah.
And okay. And it was really the end of that whole year of being on the mastermind. The great thing for me was not only to meet people that had on the show to look at their factories, but also because I'd been to China 3 years before that, just before COVID, and you always hear about people saying you don't know about the factories, they just might be the middleman. But this was a great way to actually see the factories, meet the people, and see the quality of all the goods that were being promoted. It was just fantastic. So yeah, I'm so pleased that I did it. 18 days in all, and I feel like I've been away for 3 months. Just got so much done.
If I remember correctly,
That's
Christine, you hit
and of
the
course
ground
to meet
running.
everyone.
And every time I saw you, whether it be at breakfast or at dinner or midway through. Well, I don't think I've seen you midway through the day, because you were out nearly every day in different factories and visiting. And so every time I caught up with you, it was, I've just been to this factory and I've just been to that factory. So you had a ball, didn't you? And visiting folks' houses, and so you had a great time, didn't you? She frozen.
And I actually
There's just slight delay.
met some really interesting, great group as well, because we'd been talking, great to make friends, really solidify friendships. That was great too.
Awesome. So, and Tricia, what's you actually went early to the trip too, didn't you, as well?
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I went in a little bit early to do a little bit of sightseeing. So went down to Ranthambore National Park to see some tigers, and went also across to a bird park. I love the outdoors. I love nature.
You didn't see that tiger. You didn't see that tiger who plays golf, did you?
No. I would have got his autograph for you, Kev.
I know you would. Appreciate that. No, Tricia, I know we've known you for a long time, but why did you decide to come on the India sourcing trip?
Yeah, look, I've been, and you all know, I've been hanging for this trip for over 2 years now. Yeah, because obviously with COVID, it made things quite difficult. But yeah, look, I was always interested in the products that you get from India and understanding, you know, why they were so unique compared to other countries, especially in the way they were made, the materials that are used. And yeah, I just wanted to understand more about the products and the sourcing and then actually sourcing from India. And so I was looking for, you know, sort of a full immersive experience to understand those products. And that was one of the big reasons why I wanted to go. And I wanted to see those products firsthand and to, you know, sort of build a solid pipeline of products for the next 12 months. So that was one of the sort of big reasons I wanted to go there. And, you know, obviously COVID hit as well, which made it particularly difficult for a lot of us. And, you know, it exposed vulnerabilities in our business in that, you know, sourcing from one place, such as China, made things, you know, very risky. So yeah, just wanted to branch out a little bit and have a look at what sourcing products from India was all about, and have a look at those products there. And you know, there are products there that, you know, have a really, you can build a strong brand around it with a really strong narrative too. Particularly, you know, women artisans, for example, you know, in villages, we can support them and sort of bring those gorgeous products to market, and you can tell a really good story. And yeah, so I just wanted to understand a lot more about that.
Yeah, well, we spoke for a long time, you know, even in the biz shows that we sort of do in the months leading up to, you know, the supplies being brought to the table. You know, the opportunities that were sort of hidden away in some of the places. You know, they're everywhere, you know, and they sort of strike you, and, you know, they strike you on the head, you know what I mean? But when you actually go on a trip and go to the factories, there's a myriad of products and ideas and opportunities everywhere you look, isn't there?
Yeah, there is, absolutely. And it's also like products, and there might be a product that's, you know, you sort of look at it and you go, okay, that's just a vase. But if you can look at it in a different way, color, shape, material that's used, how it's made, then you've got something that's completely different. And that can be a USP as well. So yeah, I think you need to sort of look at some of the products through a different lens as well, and there's opportunities all around.
Awesome. And CJ, I'll just quickly come back to you. You found some products you're ready to go with too, haven't you?
I've found 4 products that I'm ready to launch.
Rock and roll.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident about these 4 items. And they were 4 things I would have never found if I had not gone on this trip.
Yeah, fantastic.
Oh, that's awesome.
And quickly, Christine, did you find any sort of products? I know you have, and you've been looking at lots, but have you got anything that you're really sort of getting close to maybe launching?
You.
Connection.
Oh, her connection's a bit choppy.
There's a bit of a delay.
Yeah, there's a delay, and she's breaking up a bit.
It's a long way to WA, isn't it? I think New York's closer.
I know. And by the way, as a PS, because we can't hear Christine, I've found 4 products that I'm launching, but I still haven't gotten through all my business cards. So
Oh my gosh, look at that.
there might be some more gems in here.
So, CJ, you was a good girl and you did as you were told and you got around that fair and you got on those, get all the contacts. So you spoke to a lot of people by the looks of that book.
Yep. I was serious. I went, my goal was to find products.
Yeah, yeah.
And I went with a very open mind. And I took all the training that I have and all the knowledge that I have. And I took, I learned from the mistakes that I made, because we all make mistakes when we launch a new business.
Of course.
I learned from those mistakes, and I went and I was determined to find some new products, and meeting the owners of the companies that manufacture these made all the difference.
Yeah.
Expanding on what Tricia said, I now know the owners. I know the people that I'm communicating with. I've met them. One said, "Oh, next time you're in India, come to my house for dinner." I've formed relationships, and I plan on continuing to do that.
Yeah.
So,
and to be honest, CJ, they actually do mean it. They're not just saying it a lot. They do mean it.
Yeah.
So,
okay, Trish, I'll move on to you, Trish. I'll go the other end. Now, what was your favourite part of the trip? Can be anything.
That is a really hard question to answer. Fantastic. It was fabulous. I mean, everything from the cultural stuff, like the Bollywood night was so much fun. The evenings out, the dinners out. I mean, and that's obviously the social side and the cultural side, which was just so much fun with everyone. But I think it was about, what CJ was saying before, was meeting the suppliers, checking out some of these really, really cool products. Like some of them I look and I think, geez, I would never have thought of that. And also like the materials that they're made from, so one might be made, in wood, another one would be made in metal. And I just would never have thought in a million years to make it with a particular type of material, because it's always made with plastic or something. The trade show was amazing, because there was just so much to see. And I think a big part of it was also meeting all, Christine and CJ and everyone, which was just fantastic. All like-minded folk. And we're all on, the same journey together. We're all at just different stages. So now we have this huge, amazing community that we can always reach out to if we need anything. And that's, and that's something that's just, you can't put a price on that. And I guess for me, the other thing too is because I've sort of started the process of sourcing from India, I got to meet some of my business partners who are also, part of the India sourcing group. So, the legal team, suppliers, the sourcing agents, and the QC team, and the shipping team, and all that for the first time, because, over the last couple of years, they've just been a face over Zoom or a voice over the phone, or a messenger over WhatsApp. So it was so good to actually talk to them and build those relationships a bit more.
Christine,
and Tricia, relationships are just so important, right? I mean, tell us about that story real quick, where you were talking to the supplier on WhatsApp, I think, or via email, and he was like, "Oh, okay, yeah. What do you want? And then once you told him you were on the trip, what happened? Yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah, that was quite interesting. That's my favorite. That's my favorite anecdote at the moment. I've been telling people a lot about it, but this is a good way of showing people exactly how they suppliers see us. I had reached out to one of the suppliers on WhatsApp, and I was interested in a couple of products. And I just introduced myself. I just said, "Hi, my name is Tricia. I'd like to set up a meeting with you. I'd like to meet you, talk to you about your business and, your factories." And and he just sort of wrote back and said, "What products are you after?" And I thought, "Oh, that's a bit abrupt," rather curt. And then I thought, okay, I just said, "No, I'd like to actually talk to you in person. It would be great." And he sort of said the same thing again, "Tell me what products you're after and, I'll get back to you." And then I said, all right, I'm going to do this a little differently. So I thought, okay, I'm going to tell him who I am. So I said, I'm actually part of the India sourcing group. And I was there, a few weeks ago with Megla's group. And I actually met your team at the conference. And unfortunately, I didn't have an opportunity to meet yourself at the time. And it was an unbelievable 180. It was not 180. You just gone, oh, okay. Look, I'll set up a time. Let's talk in 2 hours. I'll walk you through my factory. I'll show you my factory. I'll show you some of the products, and we can have a conversation about what you'd like. And it was like a totally different person. So I was just shocked. And it just goes to show you that they do take you seriously when they can see that you are a serious buyer. You're there in person. You're taking the time to meet them, that you've flown all the way to India. And these sorts of things are really, really important because it's part of the relationship building, and you'll get so much more out of it by building those relationships. And now, we had a 2-hour conversation that wasn't planned, and I'm sure I've taken a big chunk out of his day. So it was just, I was just blown away, to be honest. But yeah, that's
if I could just add something there too, that you hit a good point there, Tricia, and the suppliers love it when they see that you are a serious contender, right? Because we see all the time people come in and they'd say, hey, can you give me 100 of those items? And you think, gee, I know that they're sort of offering low MOQs, but come on, if you're in the game, you got to be serious, right? I mean, to get 100 even items shipped, to anywhere, to the States or Australia or wherever, it's going to cost you how much to get that stuff. So you're not even serious, are you? And a lot of the suppliers I've spoken to, they say, oh, come on, are these real buyers or are they just, pretending? So, when you go out there, like you say, Tricia, if you show like you're really in the game and you're a serious buyer, the door opens even further for you. Would that be right in saying that?
Yeah, absolutely. And that means that it means that there are there are so many more advantages to that. I mean, you can change your lead times because they know who you are. I mean, they'll go out of their way for you. I remember also when we did end up having a conversation, the product that I'm interested in, I was probably thinking of starting off with maybe perhaps about 1,000 or something, but and he deals with really large quantities as well because he has some really large, big clients, and we'd be looking about 3,000 to 10,000 or something like that. And he said, "Oh no, that's okay. We can." I never told him how much I wanted to purchase in the first order, and he said, "No, that's okay. We can do 200 if you want." And I thought, "Oh God, wow, okay, 200. That's really quite low." So again, it comes back to that relationship and that trust that you build and the seriousness that they can see coming, from your side.
Yeah, but as a business, you got to sort of make it worthwhile to everybody that's in the business, So
absolutely.
If you go in there and you're not a serious buyer and you haven't done your sort of numbers and you don't know that the shipping is going to be more than what the product is going to be, they can see that, and so they can see that you're sort of a naive sort of buyer. But anyway, it's part of learning, I guess.
Okay, CJ. So, what was your favourite part of the trip?
Are you kidding? How am I supposed to answer that?
Same way I did. Everything.
Hey, CJ, meeting Margaret and myself at the lift every morning. Yeah?
I have the best picture of the two of you by the elevator. You were aware?
Yeah.
Yes, that is an incredible picture. Yes.
I don't know. Expanding on what Tricia said, the cultural part of it was, and I've traveled a lot, but I've never been to Asia. The cultural part for me was just mind blowing. Completely unexpected. Absolutely the most amazing trip I've ever taken. What was my favorite part? Megala knows that going to the school was really emotional for me. I cried. I cried in Megala's arms. I think I think Taj Mahal and the fair were the two things. So, and what we forgot to mention is that one of the amazing things about going to the fair and meeting the vendors and having the relationships, yes and yes, but what we forgot is that you get to touch the products and pick them up,
Yeah.
feel the quality, see the quality in person. You don't get that from China. So the quality and seeing it in person and actually physically holding them and discussing, hey, can you make this smaller? Hey, can this be thicker? I think that put us in a position miles ahead of people that weren't there.
Yeah, definitely. Christine, you're back and you're hopefully working.
I've moved it to the phone. There's been a storm here overnight, so there's the internet is a bit dodgy, but
that's all right.
Yeah, I'm hoping that the phone's better.
Now. Yeah. So, what was your favourite part of the trip, Christine?
I loved all of it. I really did. I loved all of it. The food was terrific. The organising was terrific. Being picked up at the airport was magical. Getting the SIM card put in and organised, all of that. Not having to worry about luggage. Not having to worry about where do I catch the coach, or any of that. And so you could just focus the entire time on actually looking for and developing product, seeing how other people view the same product. That was really interesting. For me, I would have liked more PPC keyword, a few more sessions like that would have been great, because I feel like that's where I'm really lacking. And everyone's got a different spin on how to do things. So always learning. The evenings were really good, all those little micro sessions that we had, moving around, talking to other people. Sometimes they weren't long enough because you were just getting into it and you'd have to move again. But I went, like Kylie, like Tricia, I went a couple of days early, but Tricia, you went sightseeing and I went to factories. And because I thought I didn't have any idea of what was going to happen during the rest of it, how much time, time just seems to disappear. And so I did that, and I contacted them before I left, and they were people that you'd had on the show. So they were already familiar with you. So they were very welcoming. And I went to, I think, 4 factories in the 2 days beforehand. And they were way out in Panapat, so it was quite a distance. And it was meant to take an hour and a half to get there, but unfortunately took 4 hours because there was a traffic accident. That was day one. I had to do the same thing the next day. Anyway, you just go through it, and it was, but it was amazing because you see how so many other people live and what they do to make a living, and how lucky we are that we can get to do this and design our own future, our own challenges, our own course. So that was magnificent. That was really magnificent. So I loved every part of it.
And look, what I think, standing back and watching everyone, was that, like, people would see a product and they'd be 2 or 3 talking to each other, and somebody would say, oh, but you could use that for something else. And we actually, a few of us actually had lunch yesterday in Melbourne, and we were talking once again, and somebody said something, and then everyone else is throwing in ideas of other keywords. And like, it just, because if you just go to that fair even on your own, you're walking around aimlessly and you haven't got all these other eyes and ears to help you. But everyone, joins in and clicks, and you tend to find, I suppose, like-minded people that you share ideas with as you're walking around. And I think that was probably one of the biggest things that I watched everyone enjoying, interacting with each other and sharing their ideas and helping each other. Oh, yeah, that'd be good for something else. And the people go, oh, I never thought of that. And I think that's where you get a lot more out of the trip, being with other people, for whatever reason, as well as the masterminds and, the coaching side, but just the people interacting between themselves. And funnily enough, I was on a call with Lee before, and she was saying, oh, there's 6 of us now, and we jump on a call now and have a chat. So people have now formed their own little masterminds and are still helping each other down the track, and they would never have known each other if they hadn't been on the trip. So I think that there's a lot of spin-offs that, you don't see till you even get back and keep networking with people. So, and I know a lot of you guys are all interacting with lots of different people, so it's really good to see.
Yeah, there was a lot of openness, which is great, because sometimes you get to groups and they really won't talk about anything. I mean, I understand they don't want to talk about their products, but as you said, Margaret, they were looking at a product, no one owned it, so they could just discuss ideas, and the ideas were fantastic. Yeah, really great. And then, different materials, different purposes, turn it upside down and it's something else, it was really good.
Yeah. And Christine, you were also invited to one of the suppliers' to their house, right? For Diwali. You celebrated Diwali with them. How was that experience?
That was amazing. It was terrific. And we saw, they did it in their living room. So there was fumes and fire, and it was just fantastic. There was two priests. So we all got blessed, which is fantastic. So 223, yoo-hoo, I'm right. But just to see how they did it, and then they explained things to us as well, and all the offerings and all the blessings. It was great that they would do that for us. That was just lovely.
Yeah, and in fact, Steven Selikov came over to my place for Diwali, and he celebrated Diwali with us. That was an experience as well. And I mean, he really helped with all of the preparations as well. And we do a big, not as big as the one that you experienced, but we do like a small prayer ceremony in the evening. And Stephen was there helping us with that, and he was even doing the rangoli on the floor. You do these patterns with colored powder, so he was helping with that. And then he was ringing the bell during the prayer, so it was really nice.
I love it.
Cool. All right, so Christine, let me ask you. I mean, if you hadn't been on the trip, would you have been able to learn everything that you did during the trip, during those 18 days? I mean, what do you think it would have been? How long do you think it would have taken you to learn all of that if you hadn't been on the trip?
Well, if I hadn't have been on the trip, or if I went to the trip but didn't go with ISN, then it would have been a completely different experience, because you could see a lot of people that were either in the hotel or at the fair, and they were by themselves. And I actually spoke to a couple. One was an Australian and one was a Danish guy, and they both have businesses, but one knows Stephen and is a student of his, so he just happened to come into the area. But it's a totally lonely experience as well, and so you're really just looking at things through your own tunnel vision. And of course, how many times on the trip did you hear people say, "Oh, come on"? So you're encouraged to do other things as well, which means that if you're just running the trip by yourself, you stop yourself and contain yourself, and you filter everything. And this is a way of having other people's filters and encouragement and everything else to keep going. So the energy just keeps going. It's like perpetual motion. It just keeps going. So you thought you were tired half an hour ago, but now you're somewhere else on a coach, and you're going down some tiny little street and up some stairs, and so you just you find the energy, and it's fantastic, because by yourself, how many people were on there? Multiply that by the different opportunities that were there.
Absolutely. Tricia, what about you? Like, what was the learning like for you? And, how do you think you would have learned everything you did if you hadn't been on the trip?
Oh, look, definitely not, because I think it's like, I guess it's like uni, right? Or like school, where you have all this theoretical stuff and then you've got this practical stuff. You just have to be there to see it, to be able to learn and understand. And I guess like one of the big things for me, one of the most valuable parts in terms of learning, was understanding the manufacturing process, each of the steps, how much work actually goes into making just one piece. Because a lot of the products in India are handcrafted, which makes it quite a manual process. So I've come to appreciate the manufacturing process a lot more, and why there are such long lead times, why we have 90 days sometimes. But when you actually go there, you understand why. And so I just need to plan for that a bit better. And I wouldn't have known that without seeing it, being there firsthand to see what it was like. Also, just having access to the coaches, all for the whole period. People who are just so a wealth of knowledge, and having them there, the whole time, the same place. And if there was anything I wanted to ask, I could walk up to anyone at any time and ask them. And that's a huge advantage. And there was a lot of learning from that as well. And the conference on the first day, there was a lot learning about packaging as well, things like that. So, when you've got someone there who's a packaging specialist and you're there and you can feel and you can see the packaging and you can understand a lot more. Like I think it was CJ who mentioned it before that said, or Christine, I'm so sorry for I can't remember who it was, but you were talking about being able to see and touch the products. And that's a completely different experience when you're actually physically there and you can smell it, you can see it, you can touch it, you can see how big it is, you can see the thickness, you can feel the finish, those sorts of things that you would never be able to see if you were just looking over Zoom. And so, I just think, and that's all part of the learning as well, to understand, how the products are developed and where our products come from and how they're made. So for me, that was really insightful.
Yeah, but awesome. I know Robin,
CJ,
who was sorry. Yeah, sorry. I was just going to say, I remember Robin, after we'd been through the factories, coming out and going, my God, I'm never going to go mad at my manufacturer. If he says I need another week, she said, I just can't believe, and I feel so bad. So he can have another week now. I know what it's like. And I think until you actually see the process, and I mean, she's been manufacturing over there for, a couple of years. So she sort of probably thought she knew what they were doing, but when she actually seen how her product is physically made and how long it takes, and that a man really stands there and taps it, and like Kev was in Kev's apprenticeship that he did, I think that makes you appreciate the whole process. And I mean, we went to our factory sort of fairly early in the piece, so I've known all along how they did most of my products, and I still can see them polishing these blades on my damn cheese knives and going, oh God, if I order another 400 and there's 4 in each set, that guy's got to do 1,600 more polishing things for 5 minutes on each thing. So you do appreciate when you see that. So it's not like China and they zap it on a polishing thing and it's done in 10 seconds. So I think that's a big difference. Yeah, sorry to interrupt, Nicola.
No, I just wanted to add to that. I did the same thing. I mean, I went to see my products being made, and there were a whole bunch of people just sitting there manually, rubbing everything back. And I thought, oh my goodness, that's just one. I don't know, there was maybe 10 people, there were about 10 people or something that were rubbing it back. And I thought, okay, 10 each, there's 10 pieces here. How many did I order? Oh my gosh. I just thought, goodness me. And it is a very labor intensive production happening in India. So I think we just need to be aware of that, and you don't come to appreciate that until you actually see it.
Right. CJ, what about you? What was the learning like for you?
And a PS on what you guys were just saying, having that information and knowing the pride that goes into the manufacturing process is going to make me a better seller, because I know what went into my products. And I know the pride that the people making it and the sourcing people, the manufacturer, the people that own the company, I know the pride that they have in their products. And after seeing that in person, it's going to make me believe in my products that much more. So, which will make me a better seller. But what was the question, by the way?
The question was everything that you...
I could just talk about this trip forever, by the way. My friends are sick of hearing about it.
Yeah, the question was about the learnings and how the trip helped you fast track.
I could have never, I live in New York City. I used to be in the food industry, and I've been to many conventions. I usually go by myself. I'm very self-sufficient and independent, but there was something about this trip that was truly remarkable for me in that everything was taken care of. You know, and I could have gotten a cab, I could have gotten to the hotel, I could have gotten to the fair, I could have done all these things by myself, but I think it was Christine who said, knowing that everything was taken care of, it allowed me to absorb more and concentrate more on finding suppliers and finding products, and having the cultural experience really added to the fair. It was all intertwined, and you know, meeting so many Indian people and seeing, you know, what India is actually like in person, it really opened my mind to really wanting to do more business with India. And to be honest with you, I never wanted to do sourcing from China, and this trip now solidifies that. So, but I never could have gotten out of this trip what I actually did without all the coaching that was available. Everyone was available anytime you needed them. Just not so much the hand holding, but just the fact that you guys contributed so much to our learning experience allowed us to get the absolute best out of this trip that we could have. So I never could have done this without you. This trip went above and beyond my expectations.
Oh.
Honestly, above and beyond.
That's
And
awesome.
everything was flawless. I remember, I'll tell a quick story. I remember we were going, I don't even remember where we were going. Maybe it was to the first temple. And we were on 2 buses because there were too many people for the one bus. So we got another bus. And then Megla was like, oh, I think we need only 1 bus. And so you got off the bus. And then 3 minutes later, 4 minutes later, it was like, okay, everyone off. We're getting on 1 big bus instead of 2 little buses. And I looked at Lee and I said, how the hell did Megala find a bus? It's been 4 minutes. She like pulled a bus out of the sky and got us all into 1 bus. It was flawless. Everything was fantastic. I couldn't have asked for a better trip. And I met the most amazing people. You guys are all amazing. I left with some really fantastic friends. It was I felt filled when I left.
That's
So,
fantastic.
And what did you think about the pre-trip sessions that we did? Were those helpful to you? Like, you know, walking the trade show, and we also did one very long session on what to expect when you get to India, and you know, like what to pack and currencies and all those kinds of things.
I mean, those were helpful to me. Like I said, I'd never been to India, but I've traveled a lot, and I've been to so many conventions and fairs and all kinds of things. So for me, it wasn't, but I mean, there were other people, they had never been to anything like that before. So,
Yeah.
you know, I could tell that they didn't know what to expect. And I think helping people really stay organized with their note taking and their photographs. Someone said, you know, take photograph and then put the time that you were on, you know, in a stall, so you could sort of coordinate, what is this picture on my phone? Which vendor was that? I think those things were really helpful to people that had never experienced a convention like that before. So I'm not just saying this. You guys went above and beyond. It was tremendous in every way possible for me.
Well, CJ, the main aim for the whole team at Indian Sourcing Network is for you guys, when we take you guys to India, is for you guys just to sit back and just think about products. Just think about educating yourself at a fair and not worry about anything else. So, you know, just to let you focus, put your blinkers on, and then we'll direct you with your blinkers on just to where you need to be. You know, and just relax. Get on the bus, get off the bus. Here's the fair, the products. Here's some dinner. Sit down and eat. Come on, get up and go somewhere else.
I'll tell you a quick story. Not that it's really relevant, but if you want to make comparisons, I'm going to Frankfurt in February with this other coaching group because they canceled India. So now I'm going to go to Frankfurt. I don't know. I have to go to Germany in February. Do I look like I'm looking forward to it? Anyway, guess what? They're covering my hotel, and that's it. They sent me a link. Say, pay €50 for your own badge. I have to get myself from the hotel to the hotel, or from the airport to the hotel, and then we're taking the subway or some tram or something to the fair. I mean, they're covering nothing. My own meals. They said there's a kitchenette in your hotel. You can make your own meals. I mean, they're covering nothing. And there's going to be people there. They're going to get off the plane. They're going to be like, I've never been out of wherever they live. And they're going to be stressed about how to travel and where to go and who to meet and what to do. And you guys covered everything for people.
Well, do you know, I've lived and worked in Germany many years ago. And when I first went to Germany, all I knew was schoolboy German, right? But the Germans can speak English, but if you don't speak German in their country, they won't speak German back to you. Now, one of the funny things about being in Germany, if you can't read or German or you can't speak German, you might as well be in China. If you hit the term, you might as well be in China because everything's in German. And you know, like everything's in China is in Chinese and you can't understand. Will it be the same in... So you might want to start practicing a few words, CJ.
Zero German. Zero.
Well, yeah.
No, but I think the thing with our trip is that you get to network. So, you know, you might be just getting on the bus, and I know, you know, we spend a fair bit of time on the bus going back and forwards to the fair or down to the factories and things like that. But that's where you've got time to network. If you're on your own and you're not going to have anybody to, you know, that's just wasted time because you're just going to be worrying about where you're going to go. But, I mean, if you're in a group and you can talk about what you're going to do when you get to the fair or, you know, make a plan, you've got a lot more time. So I think it just gives you, you know, being on an organised group with everything organised, the networking is so much more value to you. And you can talk about what you're seeing at the fair on the way home. You're going to be coming home, you know, by yourself trying to think, how do I get back to my apartment? Am I going to cook something in my little kitchenette?
and it wasn't like you guys were saying, okay, you have to do this and you have to do that and you have to get on the bus to go to Taj Mahal and you have to go here. It was, we're offering you this. Pretty much everyone went. But if you want to, you know, if you want to go to the fair on the last day, that fourth day, or you can do something else. It's like you gave us the room to be able to do what we wanted and to get out of the trip what we wanted to get out of. And the camaraderie amongst everyone that was there was just tremendous.
Yeah, tremendous. People were struggling. Everybody, you know, there were people who were there to help, provide advice, walk around with people who might have been struggling to find products, or, you know, everyone was there to help each other, which was great.
And the other good thing for me is that the course that I took, that coaching course, was all about Amazon. But I also personally sell on Etsy. And I had not so much anymore, but I've been selling on eBay since 1999, I think. A really, really long time when eBay started. So it was really good for me to be around e-commerce people instead of just Amazon people, because there's other ways to make money. And it was really good for me. And, you know, and someone like Stephen, who he doesn't know anything about Amazon, but damn it, he knows about wholesale. Yeah, and it was fascinating to talk to someone like him. So just as an example, it was wonderful for me. It sort of took what I learned and made it into a full circle for me. So
awesome. What Ross is saying, Ambiente, is it's so worth it. Amazing designs that you can then send images of to India to create something very unique. So there's some ideas for you. Everything that CJ said is 100% spot on.
I don't know who that is, but thanks. I speak the truth.
It's true, because you got the bandwidth to do the things of, you had the bandwidth to actually think about, does this product work for me, whatever, instead of, as you said, thinking about where do I catch the coach, or has the last one left, you know, that sort of thing. And not having to worry about any of that just gave you so much freedom.
Yeah, everything's done for you. So if anyone's thinking about going and you're worried, if you're the first time you're traveling or anything, everything is done for you. And if there's anything that pops up on the trip, Megla will take care of it. You don't need to worry about it. It's fine. It's completely fine. Like every single thing you could possibly think of. I think I asked Megla some ridiculous questions like, you know, I think I asked you, where do you get a lint roller from? Because everything, any and everything. I just needed, you know, the trip was just fantastic.
And adapters. So many people were asking for adapters.
Oh, for adapters and things. Yeah. Everything is just, it's well scheduled. And also, like, just what CJ was saying as well, there were lots of opportunities if you wanted to, you know, if you chose or you thought that perhaps it would be better to go visit some factories or spend another day at the fair, you could do that instead of going to the Taj. So nothing was sort of set in stone where you had to do it. You know, there was flexibility there for you to do what you wanted as well. So and a few people did. So you know, you could maximize your trip because you've got such a short period of time there, so you want to make the most of it while you're there. But the trip is built in such a way that you can. So yeah, I think that was.
Do you remember Eric? You remember Eric from the?
I love Eric. I love Eric.
Which Eric? There were two Erics.
Well, he one night after the fair, he said to me, and the product is fantastic, but do you know what? He said, I sell shoes as well. I was hoping that maybe there's the shoe thing. Now, I knew straight away, like, that Agra was a big, let's go for shoes. And so Gunjan and Hanaz and, you know, the whole Sabsource team was there. And I knew they had someone in Agra so straight away, I introed Eric to Gunjan. And I said, Eric's looking for some shoes. The very next morning, Eric's in a car going to Agra to the factory. And the night I didn't see him because I was hoping to see him at breakfast. I didn't see him. And the next night, he comes to our next meeting. And he said, Kev, I've been in Agra all day, visiting these shoe factories. Hey, man, thanks a mil. And I went, oh, all I did was introduce him to Gunjan because of the shoes. But, hey, fantastic. You know, but that's what it was all about, wasn't it? You know, just to sort of chat with people and find out what their needs were and then point everybody in the right direction, you know.
This trip gives people the tools to get out of the trip what they want to get out of it. Bottom line, you just want to go to India and hang around at a fair and go see the Taj Mahal and, you know, have food. That's fine, but it gives you the tools to make your business a success and get this amazing cultural experience. Get what you want out of it. Bottom line. The tools were all there, and there were more tools than I even knew existed. But you guys seem to have come up with all of them. So,
that's
and I remember as a funny little thing. I remember Megala at one point saying, because someone in one of the pre-trip Zoom calls, someone said, "Oh, you know, is it safe to drink the water?" And Megala just sort of in passing said, "Oh, we'll have bottled water for you." I've never seen so much bottled water. There was bottled water everywhere. Every bus ride, every turn of the corner, there's somebody with cases of bottled water. You guys thought of everything.
Oh, seriously, just on the
there, Kev's got some.
Every day,
I'm still drinking it. I've got cases in the backyard. I've still got cases in the backyard.
Every day I was like, oh, I better grab another bottle of water just in case. And then you should have seen my room. It just had bottles of water in it.
It was just in case.
It was full of bottles. And then I'd go to my bag, my carry bag for the day. And oh, lo and behold,
drink so much water.
In there.
Drink all the water that was provided to us. Oh my God.
Yeah. And so this is Mike and Darlene, this thing, just a really giving and supporting group of people, trip organizers and participants. And I think he said something else as well over here. That's love the avatars. We went 2 years ago, we'll not have any language issues. If we found everyone spoke English, but it's freezing. So this is about Germany.
Yeah, Germany. Oh, well, that's maybe for the fair.
Yeah, that's for CJ.
Hopefully you can get from the barn off to the fair. The barn off is the railway station.
I'll figure it out.
You'll figure it out.
Yeah. All right,
The
Kevin,
session.
go for it. Yeah, go ahead, Christine.
I was going to say the sessions that we had all around freight and patents in India, the lawyer that we had. That was all terrific. That was, because that really opened your mind up to the, you go to the fair and it's all the creative stuff and the MOVs and MOQs and that kind of thing. But then there's the how do you protect yourself and how do you get it there, that kind of stuff. That was all terrific, really great. I don't, more sessions like that, maybe? I don't know.
Is that his new name? That's our lawyer. His name is Rishi.
Oh,
He was fantastic. He was really good.
yeah, he's a
Well,
great
Trish
guy.
had breakfast with him one morning, didn't you, Trish? I
Yeah.
remember seeing you with him at breakfast.
Yeah. Well, I've been working with Richard for, I don't know, about a year and a half now to 2 years, and he's done my trademarks, IP, some other things as well. And he's absolutely fantastic. And as far as lawyers go, I think nobody really likes lawyers, let's just be honest. But he is one of the most beautiful people I've ever met. He's so approachable, so knowledgeable, and extremely giving with his time. Lawyers charge you by the hour and
the minute.
By the minute.
And I just talked to him. I just hung up with mine 20 minutes before this call. I was like, oh, there's $400 I'm never going to see again.
Yeah. Crazy. But I spent hours and hours with Rishab, and he was just fantastic, and never charged me for those hours.
Really? Yeah. Wow.
No.
And
I would have liked to have spent more time with those kinds of people, because they were up on the platform and they gave great introductory speeches, but it would have been nice to, I don't know, sit down with them maybe, or be able to I don't know. It kind of opened up a whole lot of things, but then we got busy with other stuff. So I don't know if another session.
You need to stay there for a month, Christine, not a week.
He was there. He was there.
I mean,
to mingle with him.
Yeah.
He was available to mingle, Megla, wasn't he?
Yeah, on that day for the
that
conference.
day.
Maybe we can invite them back on other days as well.
Yeah.
So Christine, if you're
I
coming
think-
back on the next trip, we'll do a
Yeah.
special for you.
Okay.
We'll fix the date up with Rishi for you.
The thing is, you don't know what you don't know, and it's only when they start to tell you some of the pitfalls that you then think, oh my God, I didn't know to ask those questions beforehand, but certainly gives you food for thought to really, cover yourself in every area.
Give over to you.
Kev, over to you. Are you there? Is
Next
he
question.
hanging? Is he
He's
hungry?
frozen.
Is he frozen?
Frozen.
Have you checked out for golf again?
Dreaming about golf.
Oh, we've got another question.
You have.
Well, we just wanted to ask you guys, what advice do you have for people who are considering coming on the trip? CJ, do you want to go first?
If you're serious about being an e-commerce seller, make the investment and go. You'll have the most amazing time, and your business the trip will pay for itself.
Tricia?
Look, I think, as sellers, when we think about the end-to-end process, there are so many steps that we take from sourcing to shipping to selling. And sorry, I've just made that sound incredibly easy, and it's not at all.
That's your favorite thing selling. 3 steps.
I've launched a new product in the last 30 seconds.
That easy, guys, that easy. Obviously, there are a number of ridiculous number of things that we do in between, but sourcing is a huge and crucial part of our business, because we need to ensure that we get, we source really good products, that we maintain great relationships with our suppliers, that we are able to negotiate effectively and fairly so that our business is profitable, so we can shorten lead times as well. And where possible, obviously. We can't always do that, as we spoke about before. But all of this can be done, if you go to India, if you go there, if you're there in person, if you speak to the suppliers, if you're physically there, if you visit their factories, if you meet the owners and you meet their families, because a lot of the businesses are family owned and family run. And then they'll, as we said before, they'll sort of view you as a serious buyer because you're there, and you'll be treated as one. And that's where you have a little bit more, you can influence, your lead times a little bit more. You might be able to negotiate a little bit better with pricing and things like that. But if you are serious about your business, about growing your business, about scaling, you should be going on this trip. You should absolutely be going on this trip.
Yep.
That certainly makes sense, Trish. Like we we've been dealing in India for quite some time, as you know. And look, once you find suppliers that you really want to deal with, and you can't deal with them all. I mean, I know, because say for instance you're in sort of wood, metal, textile, whatever. I mean, if you can find 2, 3 that you want to deal with, and you get to really know them, right? You can actually educate them, like you were sort of inferring there. You can then educate them for what your needs are and what, I need this for this time, not just sort of sit on it, because some Indian, they can be a little bit sort of, Indian time sort of thing. But, you can sort of, get them sort of, this is what I need. And, this is what I need for my customers. And they will work with you to get what you want. And they are listening to you for your needs all the time. So, but to actually go there and meet them and work with them, that is the best way to do it, for sure.
Absolutely, Kev. And just on that, because I went to visit my factory, and they were so we had a initial inspection, and so this is just after a few of the products had been made. So it was at the start of production. So there was probably about. There was a few products that were made, but we had a look, and we were able to say, okay, so this is the in terms of tolerances, we'll accept this, but we won't accept this. And it was so clear, like I could see exactly what the product looked like up front. I was able to say, yep, no, this, and he understood clearly because I was there, and I was able to point out, but it took, maybe once or twice before he actually understood, he sort of understood, but being physically there made all the difference. And just the relationship building, and I took him some presents from India as well, from Australia as well, which he appreciated. And, when we were driving back, because it was during the Moradabad trip, we were driving back to the other factory to meet up with the rest of you. He said we started driving past his house, and he said, "Oh, I just want to invite you in for to meet my family and my my wife and everything, and that's my house there." And unfortunately, I wasn't able to do that because we were on such a tight schedule, and I felt horrible that I couldn't do it. But that's the kind of relationship that you end up with when you're working with Indian suppliers, and it's just they become your family. It's just incredible.
Fabulous, yeah.
Really quickly, and that's the other side of the coin. We've been talking about what our relationship might be with the suppliers, but how about their relationship with us? Let's say they get 5 emails. They wake up in the morning and there's 5 emails. Hi, I'm interested in such and such product. There's 4 of them from people that they don't know, and then there's, oh, I met you at the fair. Who are they going to respond to? Who are they going to take more seriously? Who can they put a face to the name? So
absolutely, yeah.
There's that part of it too.
Yeah, that's true. It does work like that.
Ross says, I have 2 India suppliers, the main one for 4 years. I visited the factory and discovered they can make a lot more for me. They're very interested in working on new designs. Yeah, that's the other thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. A lot of
Christine, what advice do you have?
So what I was going to say is that I think it really helps to boost your confidence in the product that you're thinking of selling, because you put an order in, and then the rest of your time, 80% of your time, is focusing on selling. But if you haven't seen the product, seen the factory, know everything about it, your confidence in the product is based around reviews that you receive on Amazon. This way you can actually be a lot more confident, even when you're writing your listing, as to the kind of product that you've got. And as far as seeing the factories, I mean, it's just brilliant. They're more responsive to you when you write to them, or if you're there and you meet them in person, they're more responsive to more new ideas. They can even help you with shipping, packaging, because you're actually having a dialogue as opposed to just answering an email or quickly WhatsApping. You're actually having a dialogue, and they're brainstorming with you to try and help you. And it's a completely different environment and conversation. So they're the things that I'd say. I mean, if you're thinking about it, don't think about it. Just do it. Don't think about it. No, really. Don't think about it long enough where you keep finding all the excuses why you shouldn't do it. Just do it, and know that you'll get something really valuable out of it. And it may not be what you expect. It might be more.
Wow.
There you go. Right.
Ross says that's spot on. I have added lifetime manufacturer warranty.
Wow. Wow. So that's still like something, isn't it?
Yeah, that's amazing.
I'm confident she is, and she sort of made that contact, with the factory and seen it for herself. Yeah, fantastic.
Absolutely. So guys, everybody watching here, if you are interested in joining us, the next trip is March 13th to the 20th, 2023. Go ahead and go to indiesourcingtrip.com, sign up for the trip. You will have an amazing time. It will be a trip of a lifetime. We promise that. And Christine, Tricia, CJ, thank you so much for coming on here and sharing your experiences. It was just so amazing to catch up with you. You are our IST family now. That's, who everybody is. Everybody who comes on our trip becomes part of our IST family. So, yeah, we are friends for life now, whether you like it or not.
Thank you so much, ladies.
You guys are stuck.
Thank you so much, ladies. Christine, I might see you again in India. Trish, I might see you in Melbourne somewhere. And CJ, I might bump into you in the lift one morning.
We might see CJ in India.
Thanks for your time today, ladies. Thanks for your input.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Wow, that was awesome. That was
Awesome.
awesome. Yeah. What she said, just do it. That's cute,
Yeah.
Michael.
Wow.
Wow,
It's
that
Michael
brought
and
back a
Darling.
lot of memories.
Yeah, Michael and Darlene,
All right.
they're in the US, Megler, aren't they? They're somewhere in the US.
Yeah, they're in the US.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's right. Yeah. All right, so now it's time for our big announcement. And, of course, we've got our India sourcing trip. And we are now going to extend our offerings, and we're going to open up even more opportunities for e-commerce Amazon sellers everywhere. So first of all, I'm going to play a very short video, and then we're going to talk about this announcement. So here we go. Let's see. Okay, you guys ready? Mark, Kevin, you ready?
Drums rolling, Megler.
Let's do this. Let's rock and roll. Ta-da.
Go.
3, 2, 1, go. Ta-da! So that is our surprise. We are launching a Vietnam sourcing trip now. So whatever we're doing in India, we're taking that to Vietnam as well. The same type of trip. This is going to be a 9-day trip where we visit 3 different cities. We're starting in Hanoi, then we're going to Da Nang, and then we're going to Ho Chi Minh City. And it's an all-inclusive trip, just like we do in India. And we're going to be visiting factories. We're going to be doing a little bit of a cultural experience. And the best part, and this is Mark's best part as well, we're going to be spending a night on a boat in Halong Bay. I'm so looking forward to that as well. And, you know, India and Vietnam are totally different in terms of sourcing options and opportunities and the products that they specialize in. Each country has its own advantages. Each country has products that they specialize in. And India and Vietnam are two countries that are really the best alternatives to China today. And so if you are looking to diversify your sourcing, India and Vietnam are the two options that you're going to be looking at. And now we've got sourcing trips for both of these countries. Mark and Kevin. Mark, what are you most excited about for Vietnam?
Well, I think too, just going and seeing actually the different products, because I've been doing a lot of work with the factories and researching what we can, have that's sort of different to India, because we don't want to just go and see the same products that we can get from India. And look, I've found like you can get, rattan and the seagrass. The ceramics are just absolutely stunning. Obviously, apparel is really big, shoes for those who want that, but there's so much in home decor that are different products to what we have seen every time we've been to the fair in India. They are just, I think people will be blown away when they realise. And of course, obviously, a lot of the furniture that we see in our stores all around the world is made in India. I know a lot of that's too big for probably most e-com sellers, but they do smaller knockdown pieces and just ornamental types of things in beautiful wood. So I think there's a lot, and they do bamboo, which you can't get in China. You can get silicone. I was actually talking to someone on the weekend and they said, oh, what could I get? And I actually do sort of silicone out of China. And they said, what else could I do to make it different? I said, put a marble handle on it, put a wooden handle. Oh, wow, we could do that. So there's so many opportunities for people to diversify from China to, to India or to Vietnam, rather than just being stuck in India with our, Indian product. So I think, that's what I'm excited about. Kev, what about you?
Well, same thing, Mark. It just offers variations to to what we do. Vietnam, we've been to Vietnam and sort of travelled, south to north. So from Ho Chi Minh all the way up, and this a few years ago, but we stopped and we visited factories, and then it was sort of an emerging place for sort of products. But products we saw were very interesting, I just feel, we've got India's very unique in the products that we sort of have seen in Vietnam. I think it's got some unique products as well that you can't sort of get in India. And if we can sort of, take people to things that we can't sort of get in India, and we can bring the best of Vietnam, and then, we can offer the best of India too. So, we've been uncovering factories, got some fantastic products, different to what India is. And so, if we can sort of bring that to the table, I think, it's Vietnam and, and India are two totally different places, two different opportunities for products. What do you think, Megla?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, different products, different ways of doing business as well. And I mean, in terms of the trip, there's going to be a couple of key differences with our India trip. So for Vietnam, we're going to be focusing more on visiting factories and learning about how Vietnam sourcing works, because there's not a lot of information out there. And, Vietnam is very new to everybody in the e-commerce space. And a lot of the factories in Vietnam only do very large orders, but increasingly there are more factories that want to cater to smaller buyers as well and do smaller, quantities. And we're going out there and finding these types of factories, and then we will visit those factories. And we're putting together a network of service providers and people who are experienced in sourcing in Vietnam and sellers who have been sourcing in Vietnam for quite some time. So we're, again, putting together a network of everything that you need to source from Vietnam, just like we've done for India. So that will make it very easy for you to, just go in there, find the product, and start sourcing, because you've got all the support that you need in terms of shipping, logistics, quality control, sourcing agencies, lawyer. We still have to find a good lawyer, but we're getting there. We're gradually vetting, a number of service providers and suppliers as well. So the focus on this trip is going to be, first of all, learning about sourcing from Vietnam. We're going to do a conference just like we do in India. We're going to do a lot of different sourcing sessions throughout the trip. And we're going to visit about 8 to 10 factories, probably even more. If I had it, we'll be like squeezing.
We've got to rein Megla in. We're trying to fit it all in.
And the main thing is there'll be a lot of education based around sourcing in Vietnam. So
absolutely, that's the focus. That's the key focus.
The main focus is gaining that education that you can go into Vietnam and successfully source or confidently source products in Vietnam. So
exactly. And then we're also going to visit a trade show. So Global Sources is hosting their first trade show in Vietnam in April. And so, but it's going to be a very small trade show. It's not a big trade show like the one that we visit in India. It's going to have about 300 odd suppliers. And the product categories are going to be very varied, from apparel to furniture to home products. So it's a very wide range of product categories at the fair. But we're going to spend one day at the fair because it's a small show. We're going to be able to do it in one day. So our focus is not on the fair during this trip. It's more on visiting factories and meeting service providers and learning all about sourcing from Vietnam and having some fun and experiencing the sights and sounds and different cuisines of Vietnam as well. And Mark, do you want to talk about the different fun activities that we've got planned?
I suppose. Really, what we're going to be doing is it's a bit of an adventure because we're actually flying in to Hanoi, and we've got just 2 nights in Hanoi, and then we're actually going out on, well, they call it a junk boat, but these are 5-star boats up on Halong Bay, and there's one that we'll be able to, I suppose, party on, dinner on, meetings on. It's big enough to have everyone on one boat, and then some of you will go into another boat to sleep because we don't have they don't make a boat big enough just for us. So and Meg suggested
So we've got 2 boats.
We've got 2 boats. Well, Megla said we could always add a third, but I think 2 boats might be it. And then after we've done, Halong Bay, it's absolutely magic to be on, and there's so many great things that even on the boat, you can do Tai Chi, there's some cooking classes, there's a little bit of, you can go out into the caves off the main boat for a little while, and then we'll obviously have dinner and some guests on to talk about different things about Vietnam on that particular night. Then we'll be actually flying down to Da Nang. We'll do some factory tours there, and factory tours also up in Hanoi. We'll be doing 1 day of factory tours up there. Then we'll go over to Hoi An, which it'll be more of, I suppose, a little fact-finding sort of trip. It's a beautiful old city. It does manufacture. You can go there and actually get your own clothes and choose made whilst you're there. They do them in a few hours.
So, excuse me, Mark, we're doing a conference in Hanoi, aren't we?
Yeah, that's in Hanoi at the start. We've got the conference. Yeah, that's the very start, first day of the trip. And then, so in Hanoi, you'll get a chance to actually see what they make, because they do make some beautiful, like with scarves and bags, and you might even see things there that you then can go to a sourcing agent and say, I found these sorts of things. These are what I want to do. And, as well as going to factories, it just gives you a few more options, because it'll, we can't get to every type of factory, but you'll find a lot of things in Hoi An that you can actually then take away from there and get manufactured somewhere else. And then we'll be, once again, every night nearly we'll be bringing some, it might be a sourcing agent, it might be a shipper. Somebody will be coming to join us on a lot of the nights to actually give you more education as we go, because we're trying to fit in as much information as we can on this trip, but also have a bit of fun as well. And then we're going to fly down to Ho Chi Minh, and we've got actually 4 days there, because we've got the trade fair and 2 full days of doing factories. So it's going to be, and obviously lots of lovely restaurants, because we've been there before, and I've got people working on getting us back into some of these amazing local restaurants where, you know, it's just the service and the way the food is presented is amazing. Vietnam food is very different. So we'll be doing a bit of everything. So, and also a bit of history, because Vietnam is quite interesting. And for those of you, and I mean, until we went the first time, I didn't really take that much notice that Vietnam was a place where you go to, but there's a lot to learn about the North and the South and the history of Vietnam. So we'll be also teaching a bit about that, which will help you deal with the different people in different areas as we go along. So yeah, so it's going to be quite an education as well, I think, for people.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I just received a message from someone saying that the form on the website might not be working properly, but it is working. You might not see a confirmation message when you submit the form, but we are receiving your entries. We have received quite a few form submissions. So just in case you don't see the form submitted on the front end, once you click the submit button, it is working in the back end. So just to let you know, in case somebody
Keep the
sees an error message or things doesn't work. Yeah, it
We
is
might
working,
have
but
to
we'll
get a
check why the form is not being submitted, but we are receiving entries in the back end. All right. And of course, in the new year, we're going to be doing a more in-depth session on, you know, the exact itinerary, and also helping people decide which trip they should go to. And maybe they want to go to both, because one is in March, one is in April. And if you do want to join both, you can, you know, we'll offer a special package for both trips as well. Mark, sorry, can you take over? I'm just going to be
certainly.
Yeah.
But obviously, there's somebody at Megala's front door. I could just hear the bell go off. Yeah, so look, once in the new year, we'll actually come on and we'll go through the itinerary sort of step by step for those who are really interested, so they know exactly, you know, what's happening. But as Megala said, it will be like very similar to the India trip, all inclusive. So it'll be, you know, picked up from the airport, transport, all your meals, alcohol on every night. For like, you know, 4 hours or something, there'll be a time limit, but that'll all be provided. All the, you know, trade show entry, everything.
I guess the main thing is that the people just have to, like the India sourcing trip,
get there.
Just come on with this, forget about everything, and just go with the flow and enjoy it. And sort of like the girl said before, just, you know, absorb yourself in Vietnam, and we'll take care of the rest.
Yes, no, it will be. Yeah, so it's just basically arrive in Hanoi and you'll fly out of Ho Chi Minh City. So it'll be, yeah, and everything else, once you get there, there's nothing you really need to worry about. Everything will be organised and provided.
I'm just getting it
spinning Darlene Michael.
Darlene Michael, yeah.
Fantastic.
Great. Awesome. Great. So yeah, we'll be back in the new year with more information, as Mark just said. And then the website, we're still working on the final itinerary and the experts that are going to be joining us on the trip. But it will be very, very similar to the India trip, where everything is managed for you, all-inclusive trip. As Mark said, all you need to do is just arrive at the airport and everything else will be taken care of.
I just said that, Magla. I said, you just got to arrive in Hanoi, go with the flow, get on the bus, get off the bus, get on the boat, get off the boat.
Bit more adventure this time, on a plane a couple of times as well, and a boat, so it's got a bit more adventure.
Yes, exactly. Oh my gosh, just imagine like 50 people making sure they get to the airport on time. It's going to be quite a challenge for us.
It definitely will be, but yeah, we'll do it. We'll be right. We got on the train in India and we made the train. We didn't lose anyone on the train.
Yeah. We were early, in fact. We had to wait, so that's a good thing. Cool. So these are the dates, April 18th to the 29th. Mark these dates on your calendar. And if you're on our mailing list or in our Facebook group, we will be announcing more details about the trip there. But of course, go to the website, vietnamsourcingtrip.com, and sign up to receive updates. And we'll let you know when registration opens and when more details are available. All right. So with that, Marg and Kev, I think we can end this session.
Our 20-minute show we were going to do, man.
Can I just like to sort of say something?
I wasn't talking much today. You can't blame me today, Mark.
Magla, can I just say something?
Yes.
Vanita was going to join us from, I think, where is she? It's somewhere in America, Idaho, is she, or somewhere?
Yeah.
She's going to join us today.
I
But
forgot.
apparently her husband is in hospital.
Oh,
And that's
no.
the reason she couldn't join us today. So can we just say to Vanita, hope everything's okay. I hope Hubby gets well quickly. Yeah, Merry Christmas and all that stuff. But hopefully,
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
had
Vanita,
tests
we're-
and he is okay. I've had a few more messages since I sent that one through to go everyone. Yeah, so he is okay. They think he's fine. They were just a bit apprehensive. He had a few pains in his chest, as people need to go to the hospital and get it checked. And it looks like
And
everything's
he's
okay.
a doctor, by the way.
He
Her
is a
husband
doctor.
is a doctor. He's a doctor,
So
yeah.
So
Christine's
hope
just
we're
added
thinking
that
of you,
comment.
Vanita. When you get to watch this, but I'll message her back again now. So yeah.
Well, Daisy says sounds all exciting, and Daisy, you've got to be up and running quickly.
Those
to join
knees
this
working,
group.
Daisy.
Yes. And we have somebody who's saying, I hope you can do Turkey and Mexico in the future. Well, you know what? We just might.
Turkey's looking good.
We're looking into it. In fact, we have got some interesting domain names registered already. So that's the first thing that we do whenever we have an idea. We first of all go and lock in the domain name, and then we think about what to do for it later. So yes, we do have a few different domain names that we have locked in and registered. Christine is saying Turkey. Yes. Awesome. Okay, so I think that's about it. So we look forward to, first of all, seeing you in India in March and Vietnam in April. And have a great Christmas, everyone. Very awesome holiday season, New Year. Hope everyone's having a good Q4 and good Christmas sales. And we will see everybody in the new year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, everyone.
Merry Christmas,
Bye.
Happy New Year, everyone. Bye.